Again, it's a complete accident that any of this is going on. And, of course, I'm being sarcastic, but he just covers the scientific fact. Okay, you were plugging your website as we came out of the break. Why do folks need to go there, Professor Masters?
I was going to say the website that the way I usually cite it is after the tilde R Masters / the letters AHABS / at the very end. So if you have trouble getting me with something at the end, go back to cut off the end until you get to the R Masters / and the letters AHABS, and if that's the problem, just go back to the tilde R Masters.
I found with radio, you try to give out long addresses, doesn't work. Folks need to Google, fluoride, Roger D. Masters, and they will, because I'm doing it here. I'm testing it on Google. It's all you. People can read the studies and see the information. I've got to get you back up for a part 2, and really appreciate you doing this tirelessly to try to warn the public. But you were making the point a few minutes ago, and I want you to take us out with this and any other points you want to make, sir, that this is forced medicating, with something they know has bad effects but don't know the full bad effects of, and you're saying needs to be taken out. I mean, do you see that happening? Because,
I see more and more of citizens who are concerned, and some people in the public area. But I think one of our problems is the way we talk about they did this, they did that. They are human beings like us. I think it's only fair to say that most of the people in the public health sphere don't know much about the details of this research. It's not that wide.
Yeah, they're compartmentalized.
And if you are in the medical profession and you've always been taught that fluoridation is a very good public step, and you never heard of a difference between sodium fluoride and silico fluoride, you think that fluoride is putting fluoride. Nobody puts pure fluorine in the water for a lot of technical reasons that my chemical colleague Mike Copeland would explain. But the key, that's what he's told me, the key thing is that there's some new scientific evidence. We've published in journals like Neurotoxicology, which is the best journal in the world on how toxic chemicals harm the brain. Published 2 papers in that. So it's not just a funny professor from the Ivy League. And if I'm wrong, I want to know I'm wrong. But I think the crucial thing is, when in doubt, for anything that harms health, behavior, stop doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if they, quote, haven't studied it, which is their official story, why put it in when all the evidence shows it's not good for you? But separately, they have studied different types of fluoride and what it does, and it calcifies bones, causes bone fractures, cancers radically shoot up in boys. I mean, just like all these studies on cell phones. My God, frying the testicles, frying the breast, frying any fast-growing cells that have a lot of hormonal flux going on that are already, leaning towards being places where you'll have a cancer problem. I mean, bottom line, Professor, they know what's going on at the top. You're right, people mid-level and different compartments don't. I mean, look how much trouble they go to keep this stuff in the water. I guess it's because they love us.
No, I think a lot of it is simply that people don't like to admit they made a mistake. That is a lot of this is just people want to have the idea. You're in a bureaucracy, and a bureaucrat is a kind of territorial animal. He owns his desk, and you better not get near it. He's got a bunch of things, and he's in charge of that, and that's his stuff. Now, my experience in the Army was that
cover your ass.
Well, I think actually we ought to go back and having a draft itself, because I think not only we short of military manpower, but it's a very good thing for people to discover. First of all, the country has to have people that protect them.
Hold on, I'm going to skip this break too. I'm going to do 3 more minutes with our guests if you're listening on Infowars.com. Okay. Professor, you're there, right?
Yeah.
Look, in closing, I want to get you back up on all these issues, but I wanted to talk to you about Leo Strauss, the end justifies the means. What do you think of the fruit of Leo Strauss and the neocons?
Leo Strauss wasn't a neocon. He was a believer in the need to to read a great writer in the past, a great writer like Plato, to try and figure out what he was trying to say.
Or Machiavelli.
Or Machiavelli. And you had to figure out, when you're going to read Machiavelli, you have to realize, does everything he says on the surface of it have some meaning that's a little subtle? That's not trivial. Machiavelli, the year before he wrote The Prince, he was tortured for a full year and in jail because there was a change of government. He'd been a government official. There was a
no, I know. I mean, it was a very rebellious thing to do, to put out a blueprint of the black nobility's tactics. He was letting out the trade secrets.
No, he wasn't at all. What he was trying.
Well, I got something.
Machiavelli was a very devious man. I've studied a lot.
Well, I mean, I've read both his books, but that's it. But I mean, I take away from it that he was just kind of pissed off, locked up in his house, kind of spilling the beans. Are you saying it was propaganda against people?
No. He was worried because he saw. All right, I'll put it bluntly. Machiavelli thought Christianity as a religion was bad because it denied the natural desires like sex, sinful.
Yeah, it was satanic.
He thought that was a bad thing to do.
Do as thou wilt.
He thought the church was corrupt. He was trying to encourage people to go back to secular governments that separated religion from politics, which we now do and take for granted. They don't do that in the Muslim world all the time, right? So we better remember that there was a time, even in Western history, when the church had essentially a lot of political power.
Yeah, so it's kind of a pre-Illuminati type deal.
No, what he was trying to do is to figure out a way to get back to the frame of reference of pagan antiquity.
That's what I just said.
The only way he thought to do that was to shock people.
I know, pagan antiquity. That's what the Illuminati wants.
Well, all I'm saying is that he thought he was a Republican. He believed in Republican government, but utterly secular Republican government.
So you like Machiavelli?
I think he's a very, very powerful thinker because he makes you ask questions about things you don't want to ask questions about.
Sure.
That's what Strauss tried to teach us.
Sure, the hypocrisy of the time, yeah.
If you ask questions about things, the crucial thing for me is not what some thinker in the past said or didn't say, but how you can use that to learn how to read a book, to read science.
Hold on, Professor. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, to pierce to the core of things through the propaganda. I got you. Hold on. Let's do one more minute here. I got into Straussian ideas. Or the professor's saying he's not a neocon. Whatever, he hatched that. He's the progenitor of it. And I brought up Machiavelli, and the professor got very possessive, I think is the word. And like, I'm an expert on Machiavelli. He was disagreeing with me. And I'm sure he's right about the main reason Machiavelli wrote those books. I mean, I read them like 15, 20 years ago. The point is, and I've seen more modern forms of subterfuge, more subtle. He was saying that he wanted us to go back to pagan antiquity and something more pure, I guess. And that's what I was saying. The Illuminati, and all those guys that came a few hundred years later. That's what they said they were doing. You were kind of saying no. I mean, I was saying the Illuminati. You said pagan antiquity. I guess kind of this do as thou wilt, or see through all the BS conventions. I mean, expound on that for us.
Oh, the point is that Machiavelli was a friend of somebody named Leonardo da Vinci. When he was in power in the Republic of Florence, he tried with Leonardo to design to change the bed of the River Arno to make the city of Florence a seaport, because with the discovery of America in 1492, the idea of making Florence a seaport, which could then engage in transatlantic trade, was very attractive. And Machiavelli, as a politician, thought that was a very important thing. He got Leonardo da Vinci to design this thing. It would have worked, except that the engineers goofed up and it failed. But Machiavelli was interested in connecting science and public policy. And that's something that the people who read Machiavelli don't know, because they don't pay enough attention to read him very carefully.
No, I remember seeing that, talking about how basically a bunch of twittering, people religionists were blocking progress, and you're talking about the Renaissance, aren't you?
Oh yeah, but I mean, I wrote a couple of a book, Machiavelli, Leonardo, and the Science of Power, which I tried to deal with how Machiavelli and Leonardo represent two aspects of the beginning of modern society. And modern society is unique in the world. The idea of using science the way we use science, and we take it for granted, don't realize that the way we take science for granted is in a lot of